sitting here today with Mr. Jeffrey Harris, who is the Safe Money Advisor of the Harris TLC Group. We're honored to have you on our show. Welcome, Mr. Harris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, we know that time is money, so we're not going to waste any more time. Tell us, what is a Safe Money Advisor?
A safe money advisor is someone who will keep your money safe in today's financial environment. We'll show you how you can basically become your own source of financing, how you can retire tax-free, and how you can plan for your kids' college fund money and still have flexibility.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, most jobs, most employers provide 401s, they provide 403s, they provide retirement funds. Are you talking about something extra?
The vehicle that I'm speaking of, or I should say the concept, is the infinite banking concept.
Okay, tell us more about the infinite banking.
Yes, in the infinite banking concept, it involves whole life insurance, or I should say participating whole life insurance, which you have total control over, which pays dividends, which you can borrow against it for anything. Anything you want, you can borrow for college funding, you can borrow for your retirement, you can also fund your retirement with this vehicle, and there's no credit requirements or minimums.
And Mr. Harris, now this is interesting what you're saying. Now, traditionally, whole life insurance policies are extremely expensive. So are you saying that the services you provide are actually going to be affordable?
The services I provide are affordable. Now granted, traditionally whole life insurance is more expensive, but it's also more flexible, it's more versatile. It just doesn't involve just whole life insurance. It just doesn't involve a death benefit. Yes, there's still a death benefit, and that's with all life insurance. Basically, that's what life insurance is for. But with whole life insurance, dividend paying whole life insurance, it also builds cash value for your future, and you also have the ability to borrow against your cash values once you do accumulate cash values. Unlike term insurance, if you do need just basic coverage, that is a service we provide, but it won't build any cash value, and it's only for a term, be it 5, 10, 20, 25, or 30 years. At the end of that term, you're no longer insured, and you have nothing to show for it. But the good thing about term insurance, you do have a death benefit just in case something were to happen to you within that period, within that term.
And that's a good point that you brought out, because to be unprotected, how will you be able to take care of your needs in the time of untimely death? So instead of not having any type of coverage, it's better to have some type of coverage, meaning term life insurance.
Control over your finances. You have the flexibility to finance your own life. And I have nothing against the credit card companies, nothing against the car financing companies, and especially nothing against the mortgage companies. But if you can finance your whole life, and instead of interest going out of your life, you have interest coming back into your life,
No, that's right.
that makes you a winner, and you're that much further ahead in your later years.
I think that's an excellent point, because I think that no one has any idea just how much money that we lose in interest only. So that's a very good point. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Harris. How can others get involved in this type of business that you're in right now?
Well, this business, it can be very challenging, and it's not for everyone. I'm not going to say it's a sales position, but you have to be willing to serve and help others. If you do have a willing heart, if you do have a mind to help others and assist others, we'll be glad to have you sit down and talk to you about getting your the licenses that you need and the education and the continuing education that you will need.
Okay, so this isn't necessarily a salary position?
Oh, by no means, it's not a salaried position.
Okay.
It is a commission-only position, and I like working just by commission because that way you earn what you're worth, what you're really worth. Most hourly positions or salary positions, they're fine, but with unlimited earning potential of just straight commission, the sky's the limit.
I see. Les Brown once said that it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared, which leads me to this question. Can you describe your business and highlight its strengths, its service, and your vision for the future?
Oh, okay. My business. The strength of my business is safety, in a word. Safety. You cannot lose principle.
Bottom line.
You have total control over your finances. You have the flexibility to finance your own life. And I have nothing against the credit card companies, nothing against the car financing companies, and especially nothing against the mortgage companies. But if you can finance your whole life, and instead of interest going out of your life, you have interest coming back into your life,
No, that's right.
that makes you a winner, and you're that much further ahead in your later years.
I think that's an excellent point because I think that no one has any idea just how much money that we lose in interest only. So that's a very good point. So thank you for bringing that out. Okay, so let me ask you something. I want to talk to you now about goals. Where do you see your business going in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I see growth in my business. Now, I see growth because there's a need. There's a need because people are losing money. Some are even suffering. Some have no idea what they're going to do for retirement, if there is such a thing as retirement anymore. Some people have no idea how they're going to, plan for their college education, or I should say their children's college education. And that creates a potential, or I should say, a great upside for my business, for our business. And I see recruiting others, bringing others into the fold, and teaching others regarding the infinite banking concept, so that we can all have some degree of financial freedom, if not total financial freedom.
I see that. And what do you see as your long-term goals?
Long-term goals, in about 10 to 15 years, I think this will be common knowledge. The infinite banking concept has been around as long as life insurance has been around. Cash value life insurance has been around for a very long time, but very few people know about this concept. I consider myself an evangelist regarding this concept, and I'd like to create little evangelists to spread the word regarding this. And 10 to 15 years, I want this to be common knowledge. Years ago, no one ever heard of a mutual fund, no one ever heard of an IRA or a 401k. But once the ball got rolling, of course, everyone wants to know what is this and how can I benefit. And that is my goal, to spread this news of financial freedom and flexibility to the masses.
I hear you saying infinite banking. I heard you mention mutual funds. I heard you mention IRA, 401s, 403s. Could you take just a moment to educate us as a viewing audience into what do you mean when you say those 5 terms?
Okay. You take mutual funds,
Okay.
and most of your 401ks and 403bs consist of mutual funds or other investments, along with your IRA.
So they're investments.
They are investments.
And how do we invest in that? Is this something that's being pulled out of our income? Or how do we access mutual funds?
Well, mutual funds, I'm not really licensed or I'm not an expert on mutual funds, but I can tell you this. Those vehicles have lost money recently, and they will continue to lose money, gain money. You're on a seesaw. But with cash value, dividend paying, participating whole life insurance, you will never lose money. There's always an upside.
So what you're saying to me that infinite banking is at this point the safest vehicle for me as far as investments?
Exactly, Kim. Infinite banking is the safest vehicle. That is why I call myself a safe money advisor, because following my concepts, and I don't push product, but following my concepts, following the infinite banking concept, you will never lose a penny. And that's contractually guaranteed.
Contractually guaranteed?
Yes, yes it is. It's contractually guaranteed because it is within an insurance contract. And within this contract, you'll never lose money.
That's interesting. Now, you're saying with infinite banking that I'll never lose money despite what the surrounding economic ups and downs may be?
Kim, you'll never lose money because what insurance companies do, they invest not so much in Wall Street, but they invest in other safe vehicles. Okay, where you won't lose money because they are required by the insurance commissioner of different states or your respective state to have so much in reserves. So they cannot lose money. They cannot put your money at risk because it is still an insurance product.
So despite the market and despite the fluctuations in the market, this is guaranteed. This is fixed, no loss. So essentially what you're saying is infinite banking gets rid of the risk that's involved in the investment world, yes?
Yes, and that's the beauty of it. There's no risk, and let me illustrate this.
Okay.
Investment equals risk.
Yes, it does.
Okay? Investment equals risk, and safety equals guaranteed, where you won't lose any money.